people also that's watching us live on the internet, good morning. And as always, it is good to stand before you on the Lord's Sabbath day. We're going to deal with the lesson titled Songs of Solomon. Songs of Solomon. You know, most people think that this is a love story between Solomon and the men and women that he had during his time. But sisters and brothers, this ain't no love story between Solomon and his strange women. This is a love story between God and his people. Because the Lord wants to let us know how much he loved his people Israel. But the way we've been misbehaving, it's not good for people to love us, because the more we love, the more we rebel. But the whole thing is, this is, and you see people talk about this. Well, you know, that's a nice love story about Solomon, and it will make a good novel. It will make what it is to let us know how the Lord cares for his people. And we're going to find out and show you that this is Jesus that's dealing with Israel, because it's always been Jesus. You hear a lot of brothers that don't understand this, and they like to rag on Jesus. But Jesus is the only one that you have ever dealt with. And it tells you that in St. John, the 5th chapter. But this is him, and it is his job to bring his people to the Father, just like it is our job to bring the rest of the sons of Adam to him. So we're going to start this in Songs of Solomon, the 1st chapter. And we deal with a good portion of it, but we can't deal with everything in here. The reason is that we just don't have the time. Believe me, every time I do this lesson, I have to switch something around because I want to put something else in it. But basically, the Lord has put this here to let us know a lot of things. I mean, there's a lot of things in this Song of Solomon, sisters and brothers. And we need to learn about these, because if you don't learn about nothing else, you learn about these watchmen that have hijacked the Lord's lover, which is Israel. Song of Solomon 1 and verse 1. Go ahead.
The Song of Songs, which is Solomon.
Uh-huh.
Let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth.
Go ahead.
For thy love is better than wine.
Uh-huh.
Because of the savor of thy good ointments, thy name is as ointment poured forth.
Go ahead.
Therefore do the virgins love thee.
And that is, it's not talking about no female virgin either, sister and brother. The people that are straight with the Lord. Go ahead and read.
Draw me, we will run after thee.
Uh-huh.
The king hath brought me into his chamber.
Go ahead.
We will be glad and rejoice in thee.
Uh-huh.
We will remember thy love more than wine.
Go ahead.
The upright love thee.
He said, the upright love thee. Who are the upright? These are righteous people. Have nothing to do with Solomon. Some of the stuff that Solomon did, the upright didn't care too much for him, especially when he got old and started making temple to all them pagan gods, to all them strange women that he had married. But this is talking about the Lord here. The upright love him, the Lord. Anybody that want to walk in their ways and do what the Lord said, they love the Lord. Go ahead and read.
I am black but comely, O you daughters of Jerusalem.
Now, somebody said, well, you know, this is Shulamite woman. I'm going to tell you what, you know, I looked the word Shulamite up. It means, oh, peacefulness. I am black but comely, O ye daughters of Jerusalem. Go ahead and read.
As the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon.
Uh-huh.
Look not upon me because I am black.
Go ahead.
Because the sun hath looked upon me.
He said, now look not upon me because I'm black, because the sun have looked upon me. Nobody, you might get a good tan. Sun don't turn you black. If you're in the sun long enough to turn black, you dead. But he just used this as a metaphor. But go ahead and read.
My mother's children were angry with me.
My mother's children was angry with me. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a break, and we're going to do this half verse first, and we're going to come back. So you come out of somebody's church, so you're used to somebody preaching to you from a half a verse. So put your marker here, and we're going to see what it means that my mother's children was angry with me. We got to find out who is this mother he's talking about. So let's go into Revelation, the 12th chapter. Revelation, the 12th chapter. See, that's why you have to study the whole Bible, sisters and brothers, so you will understand what you're looking at when you run across it. You cannot read 1 or 2 verses and understand what the Lord is doing. You have to do what the Lord told Ezekiel to do. He had to eat the roll. You have to do what he told John to do, eat the book. In other words, you have to study the Word of God. Revelation 12 and verse 1. Revelation 12 and verse 1. Go ahead.
And there appeared a great wonder in heaven.
Uh-huh.
A woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet.
Go ahead.
And upon her head a crown of 12 stars.
Now, we're going to run this down. Go ahead and read.
And she being with child cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered.
So this woman was pregnant and she was prevailing and she was about to give birth. But what we're going to do is we're going to find out who this woman is first. And eventually we will get back here. But we want to find out who this woman represents. Let's go into Genesis, the 37th chapter. See, we're going to let the Bible tell it all, sisters and brothers. I can tell you who this represents, but I would rather for you to read yourself. So when somebody says who it represents, and you can read it to them, and there won't be no big disputation, except they might have an issue with the Bible. And if they do, then that's not on you. Genesis 37, chapter 37, and verse 1. Because I'm just throwing this in here. Because I'm going to flip back to I'm going to flip back to Revelation the 12th chapter. I just made me adjustment now because I said I wanted it a little closer than this. So now Genesis 37 and 1. Go ahead.
And Jacob dwelt in the land wherein his father was a stranger in the land of Canaan.
Uh-huh.
These are the generations of Jacob.
Go ahead.
Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding a flock with his brethren, and the lad was with the sons of Bilhah and with the sons of Zilpah, his father's wife.
Go ahead.
And Joseph brought unto his father their evil report.
Now, so the whole thing is Joseph, Jacob made a difference with Joseph, and his brothers didn't like him. Plus, Joseph always snitched on everybody. But skip down to verse 5 and go ahead, because Joseph was a dreamer too. Go ahead and read.
And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it his brethren, and they hated him yet the more.
Go ahead.
And he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed.
Now, we ain't worried about the dream. They hated him for the dream even more. Skip down to verse 9, and he had another dream. Go ahead and read.
And he dreamed yet another dream, and told it his brethren.
Go ahead.
And said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars may obeisance to me.
Now, he said the sun and the moon and the 11 stars may obeisance to me. Remember, this woman was clothed in the sun, had the moon on her feet, and a crowd of 12 stars.
That's right.
But he said 11 made obeisance unto me. Go ahead and read.
And he told it to his father and to his brethren.
Go ahead.
And his father rebuked him and said unto him, What is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee to the earth?
Now you see what it says here? What is this dream that you done had? Shall I? Son represented Jacob. Thy mother, the moon represented the mother, and your 12 and your 11 brothers going to bow down ourselves unto thee. So now we know who the woman represent, don't we?
That's right.
Because when you add Joseph to the 11, it makes 12 stars, don't it?
That's right.
The son Jacob, moon, his wife, and the 12 stars represented the 12 sons of the 12 tribes of Israel. Now let's go back to Revelation, the 12th chapter. And we're going to start at verse 5. Revelation, the 12th chapter, and we're going to start reading at verse 5. 12 and 5. Okay, go ahead.
And she brought forth a man-child.
And this woman that was travailing in birth, she brought forth a man-child. Go ahead and read.
Who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron.
Who was to rule? See, most people don't pay no attention to this. This child was to rule all nations with the rod of iron.
That's right.
That means he's going to be here. Go ahead and read.
And her child was caught up into God and to his throne.
Uh-huh.
And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days.
Now, and a man-child, he was caught up to God. This is Jesus, and now he's sitting on the right hand of the Father. And all of a sudden, this prophecy went way down beyond us to the time of the Great Tribulation. Because it said a woman fled into the wilderness where she was to be nourished actually 3.5 years.
That's right.
So now, we know that he said, my mother's children. I was an alien to my mother's children. Now we know who we're talking about, don't we? Yes. Now let's go into Psalm, the 69th chapter. Psalm 69. So my mother's children was angry with me. Yeah, they were angry with him. They crucified him. That's pretty mad. But we're going to run this down so you will know exactly who we're talking to. Because the same one that said his children was angry with him, that's the same one that said he was black. Don't nobody want to deal with it. What is written in the book? I deal with everything that's written in the book. Mm-hmm. Well, brother, you shouldn't deal with stuff like that. I said, then they should have the Lord should have left it out. Mm-hmm. Psalm 69, and we're going to start reading at verse 6. Psalm chapter 69 and verse 6, because we want to run this person down, even though I told you I wants to prove it. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. Nobody can kick against proof. Verse 6, go ahead.
Let not them that wait on thee, O Lord of hosts, be ashamed for my sake.
Now this is the one, this is Jesus really talking about the mouth of David. Let not them that wait on you, O Lord, be ashamed for my sake. Go ahead and read.
Let not those that seek thee be confounded for my sake, O God of Israel.
And don't let them that seek thee be confounded for my sake. Go ahead and read.
Because for thy sake I have borne reproach.
Because for thy sake I have borne reproach. Jesus came and because the Father's the one that sent him to do this. Go ahead and read.
Shame have covered my face. I am become a stranger unto my brethren.
I become a stranger to my brethren. Go ahead and read.
And an alien unto my mother's children.
I'm an alien to my mother's children. He came and they didn't want to accept him no kind of way, and he's still an alien to his mother's children.
That's right.
Everybody kicks against this guy. Go ahead and read.
For the zeal of thine house have eaten me up. And the reproaches of them that reproach thee are fallen upon me.
So for the zeal of thine house have eaten me up, and the reproaches of them that reproach thee have fallen on me. Let's go and see who that is. Let's go into Romans the 15th chapter. Romans chapter 15. See, we let the Bible identify everybody. Then when we're dealing with the Word of God, we know who we're dealing with.
Yeah, that's right.
Romans 15. And we're going to start reading at verse 1. Romans the 15th chapter, and we're going to start reading at verse 1. Romans 15 and verse 1. Okay, read it.
We then that are strong ought to bear the infirmities of the weak.
And we should. You know, those that are strong, we bear the infirmities. We're supposed to help weak people. Go ahead and read.
And not to please ourselves. That every one of us please his neighbor for his good to edification.
Yes, go ahead.
For even Christ pleased not himself.
For even Christ pleased not himself. Go ahead.
But as it is written, the reproaches of them that reproach thee fell on me.
But as it is written, the reproaches of them that reproach thee fell on me. In other words, y'all sinned, but I had to go and become the sin offering.
That's right.
That's the same one that said my mother's children was angry with me. And I'm alien to my mother's children. Who was that talking? The one that said he is black. And who did the Bible say this was? Jesus, sisters and brothers. Now let's go back to the Songs of Solomon. We're going to read that second half of that 6th verse. Well, I tell people sometimes, I say, you know, you can get a verse like you go into Daniel, the 12th chapter, and you can get a verse that's one verse talks about times that 1,000 years away from one another. One verse. That's why you have to pay attention to this book. So we're going to start at the top, and we just read the whole verse, and we'll get to the second half. Verse 6, go ahead.
Look not upon me because I am black, because the sun have looked upon me.
Go ahead.
My mother's children were angry with me. They made me the keeper of the vineyards, but mine own vineyard have I not kept.
So that's another thing. He said, my mother's children was angry with me, and they made me the keeper of other vineyards, but mine own vineyard have gone unkept. First thing we want to understand is, who is this Lord's vineyard? Let's go into Isaiah, the 5th chapter. Isaiah chapter 5. See, people don't understand. The Lord don't leave no room for interpretation. He tell you everything. All you got to do is find it.
That's right.
Because this love story goes further than the songs of Solomon, sisters and brothers. Everybody writes about this.
That's right.
Isaiah 5:1. Go ahead.
Now will I sing to my well-beloved a song of my beloved touching his vineyard.
Now he's telling the same love story, ain't it? Now when I sing to my well-beloved, touching my well-beloved vineyard, go ahead and read.
My well-beloved have a vineyard in a very fruitful hill. And he fenced it and gathered out the stones thereof.
Go ahead.
And planted it with the choicest vine. And built a tower in the midst of it.
Go ahead.
And also made a wine press therein. And he looked that it should bring forth grapes, and it brought forth wild grapes.
He said, now he went in there and he put a tower in it, and he fenced it, he took out all the garbage, and he put him a wine press in there. So when he looked for grapes, he found wild grapes. But he had gave him the best seed. He had planted the best of everything. Go ahead and read.
And now, O inhabitants of Jerusalem, and men of Judah, judge, I pray you, betwixt me and my vineyard.
See, this ain't got nothing to do with nobody else. He said, I want y'all to judge between me and my vineyard. Ain't nobody else involved in this.
No, sir.
Go ahead and read.
What could have been done more to my vineyard that I have not done in it?
Go ahead.
Wherefore, when I looked that it should bring forth grapes, brought it forth wild grapes.
Go ahead.
And now go to, I will tell you what I will do to my vineyard. I will take away the hairs thereof, and it shall be eaten up.
Go ahead.
And break down the wall thereof, and it shall be trodden down.
He said, look, I'm going to tell you something. You judge between me and my vineyard. I put the best plants in there. He said, but when I look for grapes and brought forth wild grapes, I'm going to tell you what I am going to do to my vineyard. Yes. Nobody else. I'm going to do this. I'm going to tear down the hedges. I'm going to break the fence down. I'm going to let weeds grow up in it. Go ahead and read.
6. And I will lay it waste. It shall not be pruned.
I will lay it waste.
That's
and it shall not be pruned. Whenever he find you, you're going to be like a weed in the yard somewhere.
That's right.
Go ahead and read.
Nor dig. But there shall come up briars and thorns. I will also command the clouds that they rain no rain upon it.
Go ahead.
For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel.
Who is the vineyard of the Lord of hosts?
The house
of Israel. Go ahead and read.
And the men of Judah, his pleasant plant.
And the men of Judah, his pleasant plant. This is the Lord's vineyard that he said, y'all have made me keepers of other vineyards, but mine own vineyards have I not kept. The Lord's vineyard is the house of Israel, and Judah is his pleasant plant. Go ahead and read.
And he looked for judgment, but behold oppression. For righteousness, behold a cry.
So he looked to see for judgment, people making the right things according to his law. All he saw was oppression. And he looked for righteousness. All he saw was a cry, sisters and brothers. This is between God and his people, his vineyard. Now look what happens. Skip down to verse 13. Verse 13 and go ahead.
Therefore, my people are gone into captivity.
Therefore, my people have gone into captivity. Go ahead and read.
Because they have no knowledge.
Because they have no knowledge. And we're still captive because we have no knowledge.
That's right.
Go ahead and read.
And their honorable men are famished.
And all your honorable men are dumb. Go ahead and read.
And their multitude dried up with thirst.
And the rest of the people are dried up with thirst. So if your leader don't know nothing, what can you possibly know?
Know anything he
if your minister or your preacher don't know nothing, what can you possibly know? Nothing.
That's right.
So the Lord said, now this vineyard of mine, you have made me the keeper. He is not telling the other people, y'all have made me the keeper. The vineyard have made me the keeper of other vineyards. In other words, every other nation he have caused to prosper, but where we are, we fall on our face.
That's right.
You know why? It's because the Lord gave us his law and his statutes, and he gave us the best of everything. We were supposed to be the top nation on the whole planet, but we broke every law that God gave us.
That's right.
So he said, for this, I'm going to take my hedges from around you. I'm going to tear down the fence. I ain't going to prune you no more. I ain't going to let no rain on you. You're just going to be a weed wherever you find yourself struggling.
That's right.
Look what Jesus said. In fact, Jeremiah, the 12th chapter. Let's go in Jeremiah 12th chapter and look at it, what's going on. Because we listen to everybody, but we will not listen to God. We grab everybody's God. We love to grab other people's God. Every time you look around, if you give me a God, I'll worship it. This is Israel. The only people that's ever had the true and living God want everybody else God.
That's right.
The only people that God was their king in the beginning, and we fired him. Yeah. And he been mad because of that.
That's right.
Jeremiah 12 and verse 7. Go ahead.
I have forsaken mine house.
I have forsaken my house. He said, I have, Gavin. Go ahead and read.
I have left my inheritance.
I left my inheritance.
I have given the dearly beloved of my soul into the hand of her enemy.
He said, this woman that I love dearly, the dearly beloved of my soul, I have given her into the hand of thine enemy.
That's right.
I have. That's why I get the brothers running around trying to hate on other people, other nations, and other cultures. They ain't got nothing to do with it. They found out what this utopia, that the world could have been a utopia. If you had done your job, you might really have your problem. Because this thing was given to us to fix. Go ahead and read.
Hey, my inheritance is unto me as a lion in the forest. It crieth out against me. Therefore have I hated it.
He says, like a lion in the forest, it cried out against me, therefore have I hated it. Like a brother got mad one time because I told him, there was a time when the Lord hated Israel. Why? Because it's always against him, even today. I get other nations, Gentiles and Hamites and everybody else, they ain't got no problem with Jesus. But as soon as his brother find out that he's an Israelite, I don't know about that Jesus thing. That ain't nothing new. It's always been that way.
Always.
Go ahead, what verse?
Verse 9.
Go ahead and read.
My inheritance is unto me as a speckled bird. The birds round about are against her.
And let you know that you can tell my heritage is like a speckled bird. All the other birds are round about against you. Don't nobody like you. Nobody. In case you've been fooling yourself. When they get close to you, that's because you got something they want.
That's right.
Like I remember a long time ago, I got this guy, Godfrey Kendrick, was an actor. I used to, he decided to move out in the Lily White neighborhood. When they got through with him, he had to move. You understand what I'm saying? But the Lord made it like that. And it ain't got nothing to do with them. Yeah. He said, you just like a speckled bird. Don't nobody like you. Nope. All the other birds around you are against you. Right. Go ahead and read.
Come ye, assemble all the beasts of the field. Come to devour.
Go ahead.
Many pastures have destroyed my vineyard.
So these beasts ain't talking about four-legged beasts, sisters and brothers. Nope. He finna tell you right now. Many pastors have destroyed my vineyard. Go ahead.
They have trodden my portion underfoot.
They have trodden my portion underfoot.
They have made my pleasant portion a desolate wilderness.
And you are a desolate wilderness. You don't know nothing. You have no understanding. And you got and we got more pastors than Carter got liver pills. But they have not taught you how to go back, even though the Lord have longed to deliver this people. Let's go and show you this is the same one that's talking. Let's go into Luke the 13th chapter. Luke chapter 13. And then people get mad. Well, brother, you shouldn't say nothing about no. I ain't saying nothing about no preachers. I'm reading book. Did I write pastor in this book? Luke chapter 13. And this dates Jesus. Well, a lot of people don't understand it, but this dates him.
That's right.
13, and we're going to start reading at verse 34. Luke 13, and we're going to start reading at verse 34. Luke 13 and verse 34. Okay, go ahead.
O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, which killeth the prophet.
Who killeth the prophet?
Jerusalem.
You know he ain't. You know he called it like it is. Mm-hmm. Israel killed all the prophets.
That's right.
Israel is the one that chased the apostles around. Mm-hmm. Israel stoned Paul and tried to kill him. Israel pushed the Pilate into killing Jesus when he was trying to let him off.
That's right.
See, I want y'all to understand what's going on. That's why he said when he planted the choice vine, and when he looked in there, instead of him finding grapes, he found wild grapes.
That's right.
Because this thing between us and God, sisters and brothers, that's where it's always been. So he said, oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, that killeth the prophets. Go ahead and read.
And stonest them that are sent unto thee.
And stonest them that are sent unto thee. Didn't leave nobody, did they?
That's right.
That's why when you get them all talking crazy about me, brother, they said, leave me alone. They was against Moses, they was against the prophets, they were against the apostles. Now, when they come against me, that let me know I'm doing the thing that they was doing.
That's right.
I'm in some pretty good company. Mm-hmm. So leave my detractors alone. Let them come on and dump on me. I'm enjoying it. But what did he say? How many times? Read that.
He said, how often would I have gathered thy children together, as a hen doth gather thy brood under her wings, and ye would not.
Now, Jesus died at 33 years old. How long did he have to gather somebody? He was talking about all of the time before he came in the flesh.
That's right.
He would gather his people when they was under oppression. And as soon as they start living good, they sin against him again. He sent somebody and take them down and oppress them for years, and they cry out to him. He sent a deliverer and deliver them. And as soon as they start to prosper, they sin against him again. After a while, he said, I'm tired of repenting. I'm going to throw you clean out of my face. I'm going to scatter you under every nation under the sun.
That's right.
And when you got there, wherever you find yourself, you're going to be under oppression. He said, but you would not be. Go ahead and read.
35. Behold, your house is left unto you desolate.
Behold, your country is left unto you desolate. Go ahead and read.
And verily I say unto you, you shall not see me until the time come when you shall say, blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Lord.
He said, look, your house is destroyed, and I'm going to pull up. And you ain't going to see me until you say, blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Lord. They ain't saying that now, is it? No. So let's go back to Songs of Solomon, the 3rd chapter. See, this thing, sisters and brothers, the Lord put here so we will understand what's going on. Let you know that he loved a people. He loved his people. And all he ever get from this people is rebellion. Kick against everything. Songs of Solomon 3, and we're going to start reading at verse 1. Songs of Solomon 3 and 1. Okay, go ahead.
By night on my bed I sought him, whom my soul loveth. I sought him, but I found him not. This is this woman. She sought him, on her own terms. That's why she didn't find. Go ahead and read. I will rise now and go about the city in the street. And in the broad ways I will seek him, whom my soul loveth. I sought him, but I found him not.
But she's seeking him, and she still can't find him. Now let's go to Song of Solomon, 5th chapter, and continue this. Verse 2, 5 and 2. Go ahead.
I sleep, but my heart waketh. It is the voice of my beloved that knocketh, saying,
Go ahead.
Open to me, my sister, my love, my dove, my undefiled. For my head is filled with dew, and my locks with the drops of the night. Now my love is knocking all the time. Open to me, my sister. That's what I tell you in Revelation, the 3rd chapter. I stand at the door and knock. That's the door of your mind. Open to me, and I will come in and sup with you. And him that overcome will I give to sit in my throne with me in my throne, as I have overcame and sat with my Father on his throne. So I'm knocking. Open unto me, my sister. He's talking about the whole nation. Go ahead and read. I have put off my coat. How shall I put it on? I have washed my feet. How shall I defile them? Go ahead. My beloved put in his hand by the hole of the door, and my bowels were moved for him. Go ahead. I rose up to open to my beloved. And my hands dropped with myrrh. Go ahead. And my fingers with sweet-smelling myrrh. Upon the handles of the lock. So I jumped up to open the door to it. But she wasn't right. Let's see what happened. Go ahead and read. I opened to my beloved, but my beloved had withdrawn himself.
I opened for my beloved, but my beloved had withdrawn himself. Go ahead and read.
And was gone.
Uh-huh.
My soul failed when he spake.
Uh-huh.
I sought him, but I could not find him.
Go ahead.
I called him, but he gave me no answer.
He said, I sought him, but I couldn't find him. She said, I called, but he gave me no answer. Why is it that he was knocking, but then when you open the door, he withdrew himself? Reason for that. Let's run this down. Let's go into Hosea, the 5th chapter. Hosea, the 5th chapter. See, the Lord, when you're going to serve the Lord, you're going to serve him the way he want to be served.
That's right, bro.
You can't serve him the way you want to serve. He told you Isaiah, what is going to happen to people in the 66 of Isaiah that sanctified themselves, didn't they? So you gonna do it the way he wanted, or you ain't going to do it at all. Hosea, chapter 5. Hosea, the 5th chapter. And we're going to start at verse 1. Hosea 5 and 1. Okay, read it.
Hear ye this, O priest, and hearken ye house of Israel.
Uh-huh.
And give ye ear, O house of the king. But judgment is toward you.
He's talking strictly to Israel here. Go ahead and read.
Because ye have been a snare on Mizpah,
Uh-huh.
and a net spread upon Tabor.
So all you've been is a pit and a snare. You have not done what you're supposed to do. Go ahead and read.
And the revolters are profound to make slaughter.
Uh-huh.
Though I have been a rebuker of them all.
He's saying you revolters, you're profound to make slaughter. We've always been rebellious, even though I have rebuked every one of you. Skip down to verse 6. Verse 6 and go ahead.
They shall go with their flocks
Uh-huh.
and with their herds to seek the Lord.
Uh-huh.
But they shall not find him.
No, because I rebuke you and you still won't listen. So now you're going to go and you're going to seek the Lord with your herds and the flocks. He said, but you ain't going to find, but they ain't going to find me. Go ahead and read.
He have withdrawn himself.
He have withdrawn himself. Just like he's standing at the door of this woman. But when she came, sisters and brothers, he wasn't right. So if Israel wasn't right, the Lord said, I can't deal with this. What was that, to verse 6? Skip down to verse 15. Let's see where he went. Verse 15. Go ahead.
I will go and return to my place.
I will go and return to my place.
Till they acknowledge their offense.
Until they acknowledge their offense. Go
and
ahead.
seek my face.
Uh-huh.
In their affliction, they will seek me early.
That's the only time they will seek me. In my affliction. So he's going to bring one last big affliction up on this earth. Great tribulation. You're going to seek him then.
Yeah.
So he said, I knock, I knock, I knock. Open to me, open to me, open to me. And y'all rebel. After a while, I said, skip it. They got all the sense in the world. They know what they're doing. I don't. I'm going to go on back to heaven, and I'm going to sit down on the right hand of the Father, and I'm going to see what their end going to be. And I'm going to stay right here till they seek my face. And in their affliction, that means this people as a whole is not going to seek the Lord until the time of great tribulation. Because they're going to find out what time it is. You're going to be introduced to the real ugly that's going to come up on this thing. He said, so I'm going to sit there. But we still looking for him. Let's go back to Songs of Solomon. Because we still looking for him. Back at 3rd chapter, that's where we was, right? Songs of Solomon, chapter 3. Well, we going back to 3. That's why I keep notes, because my mind is so bad. That's why I know preachers be lying. They're going to read you a half verse and talk to you for an hour and a half. His mind ain't that good. My mind wasn't that good when I was in my 20s. Now, he old as me. Come on. Read this book. So when he sought him, and he had withdrawn himself, then they ran into somebody else. Verse 3. Verse 3. Go ahead.
The watchmen that go about the city found me.
The watchmen that go about the city found me.
To whom I said, Saw ye him whom my soul loveth?
Have you seen the one that my soul loveth? They asked the watchman after the watchman found him. First thing is, we want to find out who a watchman is. We're going to come back here. Let's find out who the watchman is. Let's go into Ezekiel, the 33rd chapter. Ezekiel chapter 33. See, because a lot of times we miss stuff because we don't know who's who.
That's right.
Like a person see a nice, beautiful little rattlesnake. He's so pretty. And he even got a nice little rattle on his tail. And his tongue flicking out. Look at him. He wants to kiss me. He wants to lick. I'm going to pet him on the head. He bites you and you dead. Because you don't know what a rattlesnake is. Think about it, sisters and brothers. Think about it. Ezekiel 33, and let's start reading at verse 1. Because we need to know who a watchman is, so we'll know who it is that found this woman. And then we'll know what they're doing to her. And remember, this woman is Israel. Ain't this what the book said?
That's right, brother.
Go ahead and read.
Again, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, speak to the children of thy people, and say unto them, when I bring the sword upon the land, if the people of the land take a man of their coast, and set him for their watchman, if when he seeth the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet and warn the people.
Now, look what he said now. He said, when I come upon the land, bring and the people get a watchman and set him up. And I bring a sword, if he blow the trumpet and warn the people, go ahead and read.
Then whosoever heareth the sound of the trumpet and taketh not warning,
go ahead.
If the sword come and take him away, his blood should be upon his own head.
So if the watchman warn you that the Lord is bringing a sword upon the land because you haven't kept his commandments or done his statutes, and they don't pay heed to you, he died in sin, the blood is on the watchman. On the one that didn't listen to the watchman. Go ahead and read.
He heard the sound of the trumpet and took not warning. His blood should be upon him.
Go ahead.
But he that taketh warning shall deliver his soul.
But the one that take warning from the watchman, that's the one that's going to deliver his soul. Go ahead and read.
But if the watchman see the sword come and blow not the trumpet, and the people be not warned, if the sword come and take any person from among them, he is taken away in his iniquity. But his blood will I require at the watchman's hand.
He says, so now, but if the watchman see the sword coming, and he refused to warn the people, they still going to die in their sin, but it's going to be on you, mister. In other words, you could have delivered them, and you didn't.
That's right.
Watchman sounded a whole lot like a preacher, ain't he? Go ahead and read.
So thou, O son of man.
So thou, son of man.
I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel.
I have set thee a watchman to the house of Israel. Go ahead and read.
Therefore thou shalt hear the word in my mouth and warn them from me.
He said, you shall hear the word of my mouth and warn them from me. This is what the watchman is not doing, sister and brother. The watchman not telling you that the Lord will put you in the lake of fire for adultery. He will put you in the lake of fire for breaking his commandment. He told you he would destroy you even for eating pig.
That's right.
And he would destroy you for not honoring his Sabbath day, which is Saturday, the seventh day of the week. The watchmen are not telling the people that, sisters and brothers. But he said, so now we know who the watchman is. He is the preacher, ain't he? Now let's go back to Songs of Solomon, the 5th chapter, and let's see what these watchmen did to this woman. Songs of Solomon, chapter 5. That's why the Lord put this here, because he wanted somebody to do just what I'm doing. Go in here and dissect this. Yes. Use the other Bible, the other scripture to reveal what the Lord is telling you. I love you, but not unconditionally. That's the biggest lie I've ever been told. Well, the Lord loves you unconditionally. You don't even love your children unconditionally. Recipe for disaster. Nobody's being warned. Solomon 5 and verse 7. We're going to read verse 7. We're going to see what happened. Go ahead and read.
The watchmen that went about the city found me.
They found me all right. Go ahead.
They smote me.
But they smote me.
They wounded me.
They wounded me.
The keepers of the walls took away my veil from me.
And the keepers of the wall is bad doctrine. They took away my veil from me. In other words, sisters and brothers, now you operating on the Spirit, but not the Lord's Spirit. Just when Aaron had made that calf for them people, Moses came down and asked Aaron, what have this people done to you that you have made them naked? You've taken away their veil. You've taken away their covering. Right. Lord will not bless or protect no sinner. You got to understand that. So what did the watchmen did? They found me. They smote me. And they took away my veil, the keepers of the wall. Those walls, we're going to show you, it's bad doctrine. But we're going to be back. Let's dissect this. And let's go into Ezekiel, the 13th chapter.
Okay.
People tell you, well, you shouldn't talk about it. Look, I'm going to tell you something, sisters and brothers. When you see the alligator coming up behind somebody, you better tell them, hey, you got an alligator approaching you, mister. You better move or you're going to get ate. Oh, you shouldn't say that. Maybe he just passing by. Yeah, till he get to you. Ezekiel 13. Because a lot of people take issue sometimes, sisters and brothers, a lot of people take issue with the way I teach the Bible, but the whole thing is, I said, don't pay no attention to my gruffness. Pay attention to what I read to you. Mm-hmm. That's what's going to deliver you. 13:1. Ezekiel 13:1. Okay, go ahead.
And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, prophesy against the prophets of Israel that prophesy. And say thou unto them that prophesy out of their own hearts, hear ye the word of the Lord.
Now who you say? He said prophesy to the prophets of Israel that prophesy. So why can't I preach to the preachers that are preaching wrong?
That's right.
I ain't doing nothing different from what the Lord told the prophet to do.
That's right. Bro.
Prophesy to the prophets that prophesy and say, thus saith the Lord. Go ahead and read.
Thus saith the Lord God. Woe unto the foolish prophets that follow their own spirit and have seen nothing.
Ain't that something? Woe unto them. Well, you know, the Holy Ghost spoke to me. He said, woe to you that prophesy and you ain't seen nothing. Go ahead and read.
O Israel, thy prophets are like the foxes in the desert. You have not gone up into the gap.
Go ahead.
Neither made up their heads for the house of Israel to stand in the battle in the day of the Lord.
He said, your prophets like little foxes. They ain't been in the gap. They haven't stood before me. They have not given you nothing that you can stand or deliver yourself when I bring this day of trouble upon it.
That's right.
They don't even know about it. Go ahead and read.
They have seen vanity and lying divination, saying, the Lord saith, and the Lord have not sent them. And they have made others to hope that they will confirm the word.
Now you got people sitting all day from sun up, sundown on Sundays. And they're hoping. In this they think that the Lord said. And the Lord said, I didn't say nothing. That's right. Skip down to verse 10. Verse 10 and go ahead.
Even because they have seduced my people, saying, peace, and there was no peace.
Go ahead.
And one built up a wall, and lo, others daubed it with untempered mortar.
They run around telling people, peace, come to the peace of Christ. They built up a wall. This is the false doctrine. And the other one daubed it with untempered mortar. In other words, everybody prop it up. You get one that says man is a Trinity, all of them jump on the Trinity thing. One said, your mama's in heaven looking down on you and you looking at her in the grave. All of them jump on and say your mama's looking down. It's almost like they go to the bookstore and buy the same sermon.
That's right.
He said they daubed it with untempered water. Go, what verse is that?
That was 10.
Go ahead.
Say unto them which daub it with untempered mortar, that it shall fall. There shall be an overflowing shower, and ye, O great hailstones, shall fall, and a stormy wind shall rend it.
He said, I want you to tell them that this wall is going to fall. It will not stand. This false doctrine, it will not stand, sisters and brothers. So the watchmen, you got false watchmen, and they have false doctrine. And all of them seem to co-sign one another. But let's go into Ezekiel, the 22nd chapter. See, I'm just letting you know what the woman said. They took my, they jumped me, they beat me up. They took my veil away from me. In other words, they've taken away the Lord's laws and statutes and given you a grace that they don't understand.
That's right.
And you breaking every law and thinking that you are safe. You are naked. That's right. Because they've taken away your covenant. And when you tell somebody they're having peace and everything is all right, then they don't have no reason to look for no solution. 22, and we're going to start reading at verse 25. Ezekiel, the 22nd chapter, and verse 25. 22 and verse 25. Okay, read it.
There's a conspiracy of her prophets in the midst thereof.
That's what I'm saying. This is a conspiracy. In the midst of Israel. Don't think that that's just talking about that day. The conspiracy still goes on.
That's right.
Go ahead and read.
Like a roaring lion ravening the prey. They have devoured souls.
They have devoured souls.
They have taken the treasure and precious things. They have made her many many widows in the midst thereof.
They've taken the riches of everything and made many widows. Go ahead and read.
Her priests have violated my law.
What they've done?
Violated my law.
Her priests have violated my law. Go ahead and read.
And have profaned mine holy things. They have put no difference between the holy and profane.
Look, they have profaned my holy thing. They don't put no difference between the profane and the clean. None whatsoever. They don't make no difference in dietary law. They don't make no difference in God's Sabbath day. They don't make no difference in the law. The Lord loves everybody in spite of yourself. He said, these people, these watchmen, look what they have done to my people. Go ahead and read what verse?
26. Middle 26. Neither have they showed difference between the unclean and the clean. And have hid their eyes from my Sabbaths, and I am profane among them.
And they don't hid their eyes from my Sabbath. Look, sisters and brothers, nobody cares nothing about the Sabbath day.
Nope.
In fact, they done changed it. So the Christian Sabbath day is on the first day of the week, which is Sunday, which is made for the sun god. Christ was born on the 25th day of December, which is the day of the victory of the unconquered sun, the birth of the unconquered sun. Everywhere you go nowadays gets back to the sun. And they don't know about the Lord's weekly Sabbath day. They don't know about the Lord's annual Sabbath day. That's why they think that Jesus died on Good Friday and rose on Easter Sunday morning, because they didn't understand that the Lord has 7 annual Sabbaths. And the Sabbath day that he died before was the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. They read in the book and nobody paid attention where it said, for this was a high day. What made this Sabbath higher than the rest of it? Because it was an annual Sabbath day. But the people have not been taught that. And they've taught the people wrong. And look what the rest of the people did. Go ahead and read.
27. Her princes in the midst thereof are like wolves ravening the prey.
Go ahead.
To shed blood and to destroy souls to get this honest gain.
They ain't talking about physical killing people. I'm talking about killing souls for money. Go ahead and read.
And her prophets have daubed them with untempered mortar, seeing vanity and divining lies unto them, saying, thus saith he, the Lord God, when the Lord have not spoken.
Ain't that something? So what happens? You get one, he teach bad doctrine, teach wrong, teach against the law, and you get people that come and daubs it with untempered mortar. I can tell you, we got this one preacher that's straight up assaulting God's law. The people need to ask the question, if I ain't got to keep no law, then why am I here? If I don't have to learn how to discipline myself, why should I come and give you my money? Since can't nothing hurt me, you ain't got to keep no law. Ain't nobody paying no attention. This guy teaching it, and all the rest of them daubing it with untempered mortar. In other words, they are co-signing this bad doctrine that you ain't got to keep the law. And these people ain't looking, sisters and brothers. You go to Revelation and tell you about the new city, the New Jerusalem coming down.
That's right.
And they that have access to it are those that do his commandments. What you gonna do with that? He said, but no, they ain't about that. They are killing for gain. It's spiritual killing. Let's go into Isaiah the 56th chapter. This is why the woman said that the watchman found her and they smote her and they took away her veil. The protection, whatever little protection she had, they took it away from her. Oh, you ain't got to do that old stuff. You ain't got to keep that old dietary law. You can eat you some nice book. All you got to do is pray over it. Ain't that what they say?
That's what they say.
And when you call them out for it, they take offense with the one that calls them out.
That's right.
Think about it, sister and brother.
That's terrible.
Somebody jump in and they shoot somebody on the corner, and then you tell the officer, yeah, that's the one that shot. They mad at you. Oh, you a snitch. This is where this people live, sisters and brothers. And look what the Lord said. And the Lord is the one that did this here. And I'm compelled to read the book. Isaiah 56, and let's start at verse 9. Isaiah 56, and verse 9. Okay, go ahead.
All ye beasts of the field, come to devour.
Didn't the Lord say going to knock the gates down, go tear the fence down, and so the beasts can come in and devour his vineyard?
That's right.
We're going to find out who the beasts are now. All you beasts of the field, they come to devour. Go ahead and read.
Yeah, all ye beasts in the forest.
All of you in the forest. Go ahead and read.
His watchmen are blind.
Who are blind?
His watchmen.
That's the one that took away the woman's veil.
That's right.
How is it he going to show you where to go and he is blind?
He can't.
That's why the Lord said he's going to famish your leaders, didn't he?
That's right, bro.
The watchmen are blind. Go ahead and read.
They are all ignorant.
They're all ignorant.
They are all dumb dogs.
They're all dumb dogs. Okay, you going to blame me for saying this? Did he read this or did I speak? He read it, didn't he? Before I said it, didn't he? See, this thing, sisters and brothers, we need to understand this. Because you're looking in the wrong direction for salvation.
That's right.
They're all dumb dogs. Go ahead and read.
They cannot bark.
They can't bark. Because soon as you get and put that book on them, they shut up. Because they can't defend themselves.
That's right. They can't.
Go ahead and read.
Sleeping, lying down, loving the slumber. Yeah, they are all greedy dogs, which can never have enough.
Can't have enough. You got more money. Now you done bought your 2-3 jets. You done bought your winter house. You done bought your summer house. You done bought your mistress's houses, and you still want money. When do you have enough?
That's right.
But the book said that greedy dogs can never have enough.
Never.
So you can't satisfy them, sister and
No,
brother.
sir.
Did I read this? Yeah. Go ahead and finish it.
And they are shepherds that cannot understand.
They are shepherds that cannot understand. Because if they could understand, they would know one thing. They stopped doing what they're doing. Because the Lord had it written by Solomon that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Because now you scared of him because you didn't find out who he is. All of a sudden, you got a little understanding. I better straighten this thing out because this cat here going to do me in if I don't. What verse?
Verse 11.
Go ahead.
They all look to their own way. Everyone for his gain from his quarter.
Go ahead.
Come ye, say they. I will fetch wine and we will fill ourselves with strong drink. And tomorrow shall be as this day in much more abundance.
So come on. Everybody, let's have fun. Let's buy things. Even got a series going on in them preachers in California. That is a shame and an abomination.
Yeah, it is.
But it's all about money.
Right.
All about money. In fact, don't even teach you how to get salvation no more. They're going to take you to financial school. It's called prosperity.
Yes, right.
This is what the Lord is talking about. These are the watchmen that have hijacked you, the Lord's woman and lover, and it'll beat you up. They have taken away your veil. Now you're running around dealing with false doctrine. But the Lord said, I'm going to deal with that. But let's go into Jeremiah, the 23rd chapter. Jeremiah chapter 23. See, because sisters and brothers, somebody got to put it here. Because the Lord said, when I read what Jesus said, when they asked him about the end of the world, when I got down to the part where he said, and this gospel must be preached into all the nations, then the end shall come. Being that I'm tired of it, I shall not been preaching. I wanted to come. And that is the God's truth. Because this world is getting no better, it's getting worse. Just like it was before the flood, when the Lord said, look at this man, say his thoughts, every thought was wicked, was evil continually. Nothing changed. Jeremiah 23 and verse 1. Jeremiah 23 and 1. Go ahead.
Woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, saith the Lord.
See, these are the ones that did it, sisters and brothers. The pastors. I don't blame the people. Every church that you see, all the people sitting out there, they went to church looking for something.
That's right.
But it's the pastors that put bad doctrine on the table. Go ahead and read.
Therefore, thus saith the Lord God of Israel against the pastors that feed my people. Ye have scattered my flock and driven them away.
Go ahead.
And have not visited them.
Uh-huh.
Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doings, saith the Lord.
Sabbath at 10 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. Central Time. If you enjoy our program, we would appreciate your donations to help defer the cost of continuing this work. Send donations to the Israel of God, 2515 East 75th Street, Chicago, Illinois, 60649. Also, if you're in the Chicago area, please feel free to join us at our study class located at 2515 East 75th Street here in Chicago.